What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about 5 things that were in Madden 18 that will not be in Madden 19. Many of you know that EA does remove features from the games throughout the year, sometimes for good reason, sometimes for bad reason. Today we're going to talk about 5 things that were in the game last year that will not be in the game this year. Now, if this is your first time checking out one of my videos and you want to stay updated on Madden 19 news, or if you also want Madden 19 tips and tricks and gameplay when the game drops, think about hitting that subscribe button below and hitting the bell icon so that you stay up to date. Usually I drop tips and tricks on the channel when the game is out, so if that's something you're interested in, definitely consider subscribing. But let's get right into it. So, 5 things that were removed from the game. Now, most of these aren't like features. Most of these are going to be things that are just kind of either functions of the game that have been changed and made better. But there is one feature that was in the game last year that is not making it into the game this year. Number 1 on our list is target passing. Target passing had a very short-lived life, I guess you could say. It was introduced in Madden 18 and it is already scrapped and will not be in Madden 19. The idea of this feature was it was going to make it able for you to place the ball in certain areas that you couldn't otherwise place it. Things like back shoulder fades, or fit the ball into tighter windows by actually throwing the ball to a spot on the field instead of throwing it just to a receiver himself. The feature seemed to be a really great feature that would really be useful to the game, but in reality, when we got the game, it was something that most people found way too hard to use, and it just wasn't as practical. It wasn't even that it was necessarily hard, but with the way Madden works in-game, it's kind of hard to pull this off when you're dealing with people block shedding as far as the pass rush goes. You need to step into a clean pocket, and you really need to be very precise with it if you want the pass to be accurate. It's just not something that the majority of people could use, and even very talented players, even the top players in the world, most of them didn't even ever touch this feature because it wasn't practical. You were better off just passing normally than using target passing. So they realized that, they tried to go for something cool. It flopped hard. It just did not work out, so they scrapped it. That feature is gone, will not be in Madden 19. You'll probably never see it again, but I don't think too many people are upset about that. Number 2 on the list that was in Madden 18 that will not be in 19, and that is MUT Contracts. So if you're a MUT player, I know a lot of you people on this channel are, nobody likes contracts in MUT. It's been a complaint ever since MUT came into the game. Like, I'm tired of contracts. Why do we need contracts? It's a waste of coins. It's a waste of money. Like, we don't need contracts in MUT. Well, it took some years, it took a lot of complaining, but EA finally listened on that. This is one of the good things I definitely think they removed from the game. MUT contracts are gone. Hopefully we will never see them again. I mean, not that they really were that much of a, financially was that big of a deal. I mean, yeah, they cost some coins, it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was more just like an annoying thing. Always having to, buy contracts and keep your contracts, high on your players so they wouldn't run low. It was just annoying. So I'm glad they removed that from the game. That is no longer there. Number 3 on the list of something that was in Madden 18 and past Maddens that will not be in Madden 19, this is another good thing in my opinion, is fumbling the ball when you get hit sticked below the waist. So many of you know there's 2 ways to hit stick. You can hit stick up high, hit them in the chest, or you can do like a cut hit stick where you take out their legs. Many people complained that they would fumble too often when you would get hit below the waist with a hit stick, and it would happen a lot. It almost seemed like you fumbled more when you got hit low than when you got hit high. They have removed that from the game. You no longer can fumble on a low hit stick, which a lot of people had a problem with this because in real life you don't see people tend to fumble as much when they get hit low. It's usually when they get hit up high where they're holding the ball. Usually when you take a guy's legs out, for the most part he doesn't fumble, and the only way the ball usually comes loose in real life when you get hit low is once you slam into the ground because you're going to break your fall. But when that happens, the ground is what causes the fumble, so it's not even a fumble anyway. But too often times in Madden, you would get hit, in the legs, and then while you were in midair, the ball would just fly out of your hand. So that no longer can happen. The only person on the field that can fumble from a low hit stick is a quarterback. A quarterback can always fumble because typically quarterbacks, in terms of when they scramble and they're carrying the ball, they don't really have good carry ratings. They're not a running back, or they're not a wide receiver. They're not a guy that's used to protecting the ball in the open field as they are, behind the line of scrimmage. So a quarterback can always fumble, but anybody else in the field, they won't fumble on low hit sticks anymore. Number 4 on the list, this is a big one. This is my favorite one. 91 zone threshold. It was in Madden 18. It was introduced in Madden 18 like target passing. It had a short-lived life there. It is not in Madden 19. In order for you, those of you that don't know, the 91 zone threshold meant if your defender had a 91 zone rating or above, he would pretty much break as soon as the ball was thrown, no matter what zone he was in. As soon as the quarterback was cocking back to release the ball, he would immediately break. And these defenders would oftentimes get a lot more interceptions because they could jump routes that nobody else could. But it wasn't really realistic because as soon as you just hit that 91 zone, it was like everybody was Superman. They could jump every route, which isn't realistic. Now, in order to get that type of reaction from a defender, he needs to have a 99 zone. Now, it still doesn't mean that if you're in the 90 zone area, you still have a chance to break on the ball as soon as it's thrown, like last year. You just won't do it every single time now. You don't have a threshold of like, okay, as soon as you hit 91, they're jumping every route. Sometimes they'll jump routes. It'll be hit or miss. But if you get 99, then yeah, I mean, if you're a 99 zone guy, then you probably should jump every route. So that's good. So that was something that was in 18 that will no longer be in 19, the 91 zone threshold. Number 5 on the list, this applies to franchise mode. So they redid the upgrade system for franchise mode now when you upgrade your players throughout the season. In the past, you could upgrade individual attributes, right? You could save up all your XP points and just say, I'm going to save them all up. And at the end of the year, I'm just going to do nothing but boost my guy's speed. Or I'm going to do nothing but boost his route running or whatever have you. That's gone. You can no longer upgrade individual attributes. You have to upgrade using the archetype system now, which some people like this better, but some people are against this. And I see both sides. Me personally, I kind of like the archetype system because it just seems like a little bit easier. It takes like kind of the pressure off of like, okay, where do I put these XP points? But other people like choosing exactly what they want to upgrade, and I definitely could see why that would be a problem for some people. But now when you upgrade, you're going to upgrade with the archetype system. So you might say, hey, I'm going to upgrade this cornerback's he's a zone defense cornerback. That's his archetype. So I'm going to upgrade his zone defense. And when you do that, you put an XP point there or an upgrade point, and it's going to upgrade multiple attributes. It's going to pull a bunch of random attributes that are specific to his archetype. So if you say, hey, I'm going to upgrade his zone defense, it might add a +1 to his zone. It might add a +1 to his play recognition. It might add a +1 to his agility, because his agility, you know, how it helps how quick he can break on a ball or stop on a dime. It might add a +2 to his catching, because if he's in zone defense and the ball is thrown to him, he needs his catching high so that he can pick the ball off. So that's how you upgrade now. You can't pick individual attributes, and it kind of seems like a love-hate thing. Some people don't like the change, but other people do. So kind of just depends on what side of the fence you fall on. So those are 5 things, but I'm going to throw in an honorable mention here. I'm going to throw in a 6th thing because this is something that I see asked a lot. I've answered the question a lot and talked about it a lot, but I still keep seeing it asked, so I'm going to throw it in another video. No, in years past, there was a lack of pass interference in online gameplay. There was no pass interference. That was something that was in 18 and in past Maddens that will no longer be in Madden 19. Now, in an online game, you can get called for pass interference if it's user calls, which means if I hit stick you or hit you before the ball gets to you, or if I like manually try to run you off the field, that's pass interference. You won't see random pass interference like you would see in franchise mode on simulation, whereas sometimes you just see a random PI call because that's what happens on simulation mode. In online head-to-head, if it's user-caused, you will see pass interference now. So that's something that we didn't have in 18, that we finally have now in 19. The lack of pass interference in online gameplay is no longer a thing. It is here. So those are 5, technically 6 things that were in Madden 18 that will no longer be in Madden 19. I think most of these are good changes. I think the only one that most people would probably have a problem with is the upgrading system, because some people, like I said, specifically like to update certain things themselves. But yeah, I think most of those are good changes. Let me know in the comments below what you think, how you feel about them. And as always, I will see you guys next time.